Right, so I've had the speakers temporarily in the back corner there, behind the bulkhead and below the seats. What we're going to do is put them up the top, so it gives me a bit more storage room, like a bit more space on the back, and it keeps them up out the way in case of dust, debris, water or whatever. So I'm just going to drill them out now and get them mounted up and see what they look like. Right, and there they are, mounted up there out the way. So obviously got more room, they don't bounce about, and they're not getting full of dust by laying on their backs. So yeah, so that's made a bit of a difference. Next thing to do is maybe put an amp in, and we've got a sub in the front, so which isn't wired in yet. So it's another job done. Right, well, some more work on the 90 prior to another little off-roading day this weekend, only locally. If you've seen the other videos, you'll see I blew the rear diff while we were in Wales. Managed to get one locally and change it overnight. So today I needed to check because it had a little weep from that diff. I presumed it's because I didn't have a gasket or any sealer. When I just bolted the diff back on, it was leaking from there. So I was going to whip the diff off, put some sealer on it and a gasket and put it back on. But I thought I'd take off the diff guard just to double check, clean it all up and see where it's exactly leaking from before I did that. Turns out the diff tried to escape from the housing. So you can probably see just there's a little fracture there and it is weeping from there. Also underneath, you can see that drip there. There is a hole, very slight hole there. It was only weeping because it was proud of the diff. I've given it a little tap of a hammer and bosh, we have a hole. So annoyingly, obviously I've done all the wheel bearings, I've done all the brakes, I've done everything on this rear axle. I thought I'm going to have to change it, but I've just had a chat with a mate and he said he's going to come around tonight and see if he can weld it up. Now I know I did a fantastic job welding the light guards, but I don't really want to blow the diff casing apart and ruin all chances of saving the axle. I don't want to have to change the whole axle before Sunday, as it's now Friday afternoon. I know it won't take that long, but again, I've spent some money on the discs, sorry, on the brakes and the bearings and stuff, and if he can just block the holes up, I'll be happy for now. At least I know it's a repaired one, and then I can build another one up and change it at a later date. So for now, it's on the ramp waiting for his arrival. I will cut back in later when he's welding it. In the meantime, I've got a couple of other jobs I want to run around and doing. I've got some power wire that I've taken off another truck, nice thick stuff. If I can find the end of it there, you can see it's good thick cable. There's two lengths of that there. I know it looks like one spaghetti junction, but there is two lengths there, and I use them to run the winch on my old truck from the battery in the back. So I'm actually going to do the same with this. I've robbed it off that so I can use both wires to go from the isolator for the winch to the second battery that I'm going to fit in the rear. So I've got the battery over there, an XL gel battery. So that's going to go in the rear with the second alternator kit that I did fit and then remove again because I didn't have a second battery. So I'm going to wire all that in. But for now, I'm just going to run the wires. They need terminating anyway. So I'll get them run today while I'm waiting for Mikey to turn up, and also work out where my fuel tank is leaking. On a uphill gradient, it's leaking out, so I'm guessing it's just the vent that's leaking, but I will double check. So, time for a cup of tea, and then I will crack on. There we go. Cleaned up with a whizzy wheel, and you can see we have a nice crack there, and we have one just there. Oh joy. Now I'll try and show you this. It's a bit of a squeeze up here, but this will be why the fuel's leaking. Let's see if I can get the torch in there. You might just be able to see there, the breather hasn't got anything attached to it, so that'd be why on an uphill it drains out. And the pipe is there, but it goes over there and doesn't actually attach to anything. So I think that needs reconnecting and a hose clip put on it. Right, the day after the night before, you can see welded up down there, welded up here. The bottom was dry this morning. This was slightly damp up here this morning, so I don't know whether it's seeping through there or the bung wasn't in. I left that out overnight, so I don't know whether, because I filled the oil up obviously to see if it leaked out, so I don't know whether any just sort of trickled out the filler. And you can see it's a bit damp around there where I've tightened it up, so we'll give it an hour or so, see if anything comes out. I've also cleaned up under there because obviously I've fitted this diff in the field, so we didn't have any sealant, so I'm guessing it's probably leaking out of there as well, but I've just cleaned it up. I haven't got a seal for it yet, so I'll probably, as it's not pouring out of there, I'll probably leave it, and maybe if this still leaks, maybe I'll get another axle and rebuild it. I've got a couple in stock, so I could just rebuild one. Another thing I had on the trip I noticed was some jingling noise on the back, and I found the rear shocks were loose. Sort of. They weren't. The nut was as tight as it would go, but as you can see, probably, the thread stops there. So even when you do it up tight, there's still a bit of play. So what I'm going to do is put another suspension bobbin in, tighten that up, and that should stop them rattling around. So that's what I'm going to do now. Right, well that's the battery box in for the second battery. Cables will come through there, through grommets, into the back of the box and into the battery. So we've got our dual AGM battery in there. So I just need to terminate the end of the cables, and then we're good to go. Job's a good one.
Mobile electrical services.
Beautiful.
Are you filming, are you?
Yeah.
Lovely job. I would have done my hair.
You probably should have done.
It's a mess, isn't
There's
it?
a few greys in it.
There is.
Look, it looks like it on this video.
I'm getting old though, that's why.
Right, another job I've been putting off but going to end up doing today on the Defender is changing the fuse box. Now, as you can see, the old glass fuses in there just clip into that surround. Now that surround's metal. When I went off-roading, this clip popped off, like it does, he says, like that. Fell back and the terminals shorted on the surround. I lost my lights. So, was it the lights, that one? Yeah, lost me lights. So, a bit of a bizarre design. Anyway, having a little Google, you can get these ones, which are for blade fuses. And they fit in here with a little bit of modification. So I'm going to whip this panel out, make these fit, and then we've got the job of disconnecting all the fuses, sorry, all the wires off the back of these fuses and connecting them up to here. So first of all, I've just got to undo the 8mm that hold it in, obviously pop them out. I've disconnected the battery, so we should be all right. And then, yeah, make the holes big enough for these. I'll crack on. Right, and there we go, they are fitted in there. I'm just waiting for the drill to charge so I can drill out the holes to screw them in. But there we go, just need to fold over this edge just to slot them underneath, and then obviously I just pushed it back down to grip them in place. So now I can drill through here and obviously bolt them down. So I'm just waiting for the drill to charge because my drill's useless and you have to charge it before you use it. And then I'll go ahead about starting to put it back in. There we go, in and screwed down. So now we can put it back in and start connecting everything back up. This should be fun. Right, so I can't really show you while I'm doing it because it's a bit fiddly, but I'm just cutting, as you can see, each one off putting a spade terminal on it and connecting it one at a time so they don't get mixed up, and then hopefully we will soon have that done. Right, and there we go, all in. So we now have blade fuses in holders in the original cover, and yeah, and we've got some to spare, so everything works. Nothing is temperamental like it was before, so I think that's probably a win. I put the second alternator back on. You saw that in the other video. Well, if you haven't, go look back when I first put it on. So that's on, it's wired in, it's working. Obviously we still had the exciter wire and bulb in the bay from last time, so that was okay. So that's now on the dashboard. Just been trying to work out fitting some strobes, just for making the hazard lights and that more obvious. I've put a couple on the back. Up there in the corners, so they come on with the indicators, so obviously it's a bit more, makes it a bit more visible, should I say, if you're at the side of the road with the hazards on, for example. So I'm going to put a couple on the front. What I'll probably do is get an actual strobe controller for them, but at the moment they're on the indicators. I'm probably going to put a couple on the front, just on the side of the light guard there, wire it into the indicator for now, and then get a controller, because the controller I had for those is bust. So yeah, so the second alternator's in, fuse box is all done, winch wiring's all done, so the winch now works. I've got a couple more bits arrived in the post today which I'll fit tomorrow, so I'll come back in the morning. Right, so we've had the clocks out and we've put in a Rev Counter. That's connected up to the second alternator, so that's all on there now, that works, I've set that. The glow plug light wasn't working, so I've sorted that out. I've now taken the mud dash out, which is here because we need to fit this, which is, I'll try and hold it away from the light, there you go. It's a twin voltage display. So you've got your main engine battery there and the auxiliary battery that I've got for the winch and stuff there. So I'm just going to put it into my mud dash. So I've just made the measurements to cut the hole. It's supposed to fit in a Carling switch socket, which I do have on the roof, but running the wires up there will be a pain, and I'm using them for other things. So it's easy just to flush fit it in here. So I'm now going to drill that out, cut that out carefully, and then just file it to suit so it's tight. So I'll get on with that now. Right, so I've drilled loads of holes around it and then used a Stanley blade to cut through. So that's the hole cut out. I just now need to file it to the right size to fit the switch. Right, well, it's in. I was a bit concerned about the auxiliary battery voltage, because obviously running the wire straight to it would mean it'd be on all the time. But as it turns out, unless the main one is on, then the auxiliary one doesn't light up. So that means as long as the main is on a ignition live, then the other one won't come on. So ignition live, there we go, it comes on. So the main battery is 11.1, but that's because the glow plugs are on. As soon as they go out in a second, that will drop up, that'll go up. There you go, glow plug's gone off, so it's up to 12, and the auxiliary battery's at 12. So there we go, auxiliary battery is charging at 14.5-ish, the main one at 14-ish. So yeah, that's the result, that's in. That means we can keep an eye on things. Turn that off, turn the ignition off, job's a good one. Another job done. And there we go, they're on the front. I've decided to fit them on the grille because I've got to change the grille anyway because that one's all damaged. So I screwed them in there for now. I didn't have a drill bit to put them on the side of this, and I thought also once you undo these to fold it down to get to the bulbs and stuff, you'd have to have the wires really long. So they're just on there, and obviously got the ones on the back as well. Just see that going up there. So that's that job done. I'll obviously get a controller at some point and wire them into the controller, but for now that'll do perfectly. Right, so that's it, this little update done. Just a little fill-in video just for a few bits and pieces I've done on the truck. So Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share, and we'll see you in the next video.